Hey everyone, welcome to Old Roommates. It's time for another episode. This week we are revisiting Frankie and Johnny from 1991 with Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino. So grab a plate of flapjacks and a side of bacon and get ready for another episode.
All right, welcome everyone to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. I'm Brian.
I'm Christina. Welcome, everyone.
We are talking about Frankie and Johnny. I thought, Christina, in your intro you were going to say, so mush the tuna... mush the tuna between your fingers.
Those two little fingers.
So
that would have been a good one.
Let's talk about the movie back then. So 1991, what was your first impression of Frankie and Johnny then? The first time you saw it, I should say.
So I think it must have been, I'm pretty sure it was a video. I'm sure it wasn't in the movies. I'm a little nervous to revisit this because this is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh my god, I didn't know this.
Yes.
I knew you were a huge Al Pacino fan. I know that you're a huge Al Pacino fan. I didn't know
huge
this
Al
was one
Pacino
of your
fan,
favorites.
huge Michelle Pfeiffer fan,
Yeah.
and a huge fan of this movie. But I know it's like I was a little nervous to revisit it because I love it so much, but I also know that it's very flawed. And I'm like, am I going to be comfortable with Brian ripping apart this beautiful movie?
How do you know I didn't love it?
I'm just joking.
Right.
But no, I love this movie. I think I watched it for the first time on video. I'm sure I watched it on video. I think it was with my friend Jean. I'm not really 100% sure about that. But this is one of those movies that spoke to me, and at a certain point in time in my life, in my say dating history life, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've always liked it. It's one of those movies that I've, I used to have like these movie nights when you'd go to like Blockbuster and, and you'd like pick out a bunch of movies. If I was with someone who hadn't seen Frankie and Johnny, I would like seek it out and be like, oh no, you have to watch this movie with me. That's how much I really like that movie. With that being said, I haven't seen this movie in, 30 years or something,
wow,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, quite a while. But I've seen it many times prior to that.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
Loved it. It's actually 30 years this year.
Oh, okay. So probably
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
20, 25 years.
Just keeping you honest, girl.
Whatever's.
So, cool. So I'm really sorry. I missed it because Shorty was causing anarchy. The first time you saw it was in a movie theater?
No. It was definitely a video. And I think it was one of those things because I was working at a video store and probably stumbled across it and said, oh, two of my favorite actors. I don't think it was anything that I had heard of beforehand.
Interesting. Well, it didn't do well at the box office.
No.
And, because I remember, it sounded, so it almost sounds similar to what we talked about with Sex and the City, where it's like certain movies hit you at a certain place in time in your life when you're single, and that your heart is so open to relating to something on the screen, or, your TV set or something that you gel towards.
100%.
I saw this movie in a movie theater.
Oh, look at you.
I'm not one to brag. But I loved how, just, what's the word, unabashedly, full of love. Al Pacino is just, his heart on his sleeve, his heart on his shirt, his heart on his face. He's just all love. But I will say, there's something very different about that. I feel like a lot of, romantic comedies or this is almost more of a romantic drama in some ways. But I think there's a tendency to be cynical, which Michelle Pfeiffer is, but it's a different kind of cynicism.
Yeah.
It seems more brokenhearted than, hating men. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, at least to me back then. And so I was willing to go along for this love story, and when the back of the truck opens up and all the flowers are there, I fell right into it. I was like, that is very mushy and sappy, but you know what? I can't remember the last time I saw something like this, and I'm with this movie. I will say I vividly remember back in 1991 having issues with Michelle Pfeiffer's accent. I couldn't, because the thing is, I am also a Michelle Pfeiffer fan. I will say this again. What Lies Beneath, I really think she should have been nominated for an Oscar. I think she's given so many awesome, Batman Returns, and so many great performances.
Fabulous Baker Boys.
Fabulous Baker Boys. And she was nominated for that. And but yeah, just so many great performances. Dangerous Liaisons and the Age of Innocence. Jesus, The Age of Innocence. Dangerous Liaisons.
And Grease too, that I know you haven't seen.
I haven't seen that. So all that to say, I love her, and yet I thought back in 1991 that she should not have done an accent. And that is my entire 1991 review. Okay. We can dive into now, so please start.
Sure. So, I was, again, scared. I didn't say us scared. I did not say us scared. I kind of took a breath and it sounded like us scared. Didn't. So, I was scared to revisit it because I hold this movie so dear in my heart.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to not love it as much.
Yeah.
But I will say when I put it on, so I still had that same feeling towards it. It was like, going back home and seeing, an old friend. I will say, it's not a perfect movie. There's a lot of holes. There's a lot of flaws. And I remember actually even watching it and thinking, oh yeah, I remember I didn't like this part of it. And I didn't like that, how they did this. And there's a lot that I didn't like back then. And I still didn't like that back then, now. But I will say, what was funny is I completely forgot about that opening scene when she was at the baby's christening. Like, I completely forgot about that whole beginning.
Me too.
I was like, I thought it started in a diner.
Totally. The bus ride, I'm like, is she moving to New York? Where is she going on this bus?
Yeah, I'm like, is she coming? Yeah, is she coming? Like, I had no idea. And then the whole scene with the family and all that, I don't think it was necessary, to be honest.
No. And in fact, I would also add that it creates a little problem for me because where are her family's accents? Everyone is talking like they're from, Anytown, USA.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer is talking like she was raised in the dumpster of a bowling alley.
In the Bronx.
Yeah. Like, I mean, listen. All I'm saying is, like, she just sounds like she grew up on like, the wrong side of the tracks.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but it's weird because her family does not talk like her.
No, she doesn't. So I really feel like, I agree with that. I think that they did not need to have the family there. Although, did you? I don't know if you noticed in the credits, Dee Pfeiffer is in it. She's one of the cousins.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. So she's like her sister, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that surprised me. I thought it started out with Johnny just showing up at the restaurant. Like, I don't remember.
So you forgot about the prison.
No, I knew, like, not showing, getting released from prison.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I feel like it started with Johnny getting released from, almost like over the credits, seeing him leaving the prison.
Yeah.
But, let's see, I still loved it.
Yeah.
I still loved...
I want to say Christina has a big smile on her face.
I do have a big smile on my face.
You're actually blushing. It is.
Am I?
You really are. You're turning red.
It's like 100 degrees in here. I'm just
okay. It is. It is okay to love something that's a little flawed.
Thanks for that permission, Bri.
You seem like afraid.
Well, I love you, don't I?
Oh my God.
There you go.
Cut. I can't work with this.
No, what's funny, and I think that I like the fact that I knew it was flawed back then. The reason why I resonate so much with this movie is because I relate so much with Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
Interesting.
And I am going to say up front, I have not been in a abusive relationship. I did not grow up in an abusive household.
Yeah.
I've only had very, mostly positive relationships. But I will say, at that point in time, so I was probably, how old was I?
91.
Oh, God, I don't know. Whatever I was.
Was I 18, 19? So you were 24.
Okay.
24.
So mid-20s, right.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to do the math. So, so in my 20s, I had already been in two pretty long-term, pretty intense relationships. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It was just intense. So, when I was like 16, I was with someone that I thought I was going to marry. I had been with him for a couple of years. Very intense, okay? And then even after that relationship, I was in another relationship for several years. And what happened... I'm not going to get into this whole thing because you're not my therapist, although maybe you could be. But because of that, when I stopped those relationships, okay, and I was in the dating world, I wanted to be in the dating world. I wanted to date. I didn't want anything intense. I didn't want anything too serious. I wanted to just experience dating life. And I remember very clearly how difficult that was, where I would meet somebody and I wanted to just have sort of a light and airy kind of relationship, just a dating kind of thing, and they were always seemed to come on too strong, and not in a physical, like, abusive kind of way, but like, you know, calling me every day, and it scared me away, and it really had an impact, and I was like, goodbye. Like, it didn't take much. And I don't know if you knew me that much, like if I was in that phase that much when we started, when we met. But it was very much a part of who I was during the mid-20s, is just back the fuck off.
Interesting.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I would end it easily. Boom, bye-bye. Too much, goodbye. Stop calling me. I'm done. Not because they did anything wrong, but because they came on too strong.
I did know you during a little bit of this.
Okay, yeah. So you remember, I mean, I mellowed out a lot over the years.
Yeah.
But it was very much as a result of having these long-term relationships very early on, and just feeling like I was stuck in, you know, wanting to explore more in the world. Yeah. And so that part of Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Frankie, that part of her, I related to so strongly, especially back then, where she likes this guy. You see that she likes him. She's watching him and she's intrigued by him, but he comes on so freaking strong.
Yes, he
and
does.
He's way, 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 way over the top in this movie. But he comes on so freaking strong that she's just like, get the fuck away from me. And I got that. But on the other hand, I appreciated him continuing to pursue her, and like and I don't agree with a lot of what he did in this movie, but there is a point in which he says, look, I know I'm coming on so strong, but it's because I know if I don't, then you'll just keep on going. And this is kind of the only way I'm going to help you to just remember that we have this connection and put the walls down and say it's okay. And I appreciated, I think I said it better than he did, but I appreciated that moment. And I could relate to that. And I felt like I could have said that to like 75% of the people that I dated during that time. Like, look, you know, I do want to like you, but you need to like just kind of understand that part of it. And a lot of it is, if they did pursue me a little bit more, I might have put that wall down a little bit more and given it more of a chance. So that part of me really, really related to that, her and how she was feeling and how she reacted to him. So I feel like I just talked for like an hour and a half.
And how did that make you feel? No, okay.
I need a tissue. So I hope that makes sense, because there's a lot going on in my head when I was trying to kind of verbalize how I was feeling.
This is part of why we do this, because it's like we have said before in this podcast, it's like things hit you at a certain time. And sometimes it's like, oh my God, why do I relate to, like, you've never really been like a diner waitress, right? I mean, you've never, fall in love with a cook who just got out of, prison or whatever, but it's like, no,
I'm just kidding.
Well, it's funny because I was like, he just got out of prison. No offense, Christina, but you ruined it. You kept talking. I was going to jump in and make a joke, but but I think, so, one of my favorite movies is Postcards from the Edge. Sure. I have never been an actor and I've never lived in Hollywood, but at the time I was watching it, I felt like I had so many bosses and people telling me what to do as if I had done something wrong, and it hit me in such a funny way because she had such a sense of humor about it that I wish I had.
Yeah.
Like, I had sarcasm, but she had, like, sarcasm on Overload. Meryl Streep's character, the Carrie Fisher essential character. So I can relate to that, because it hit me at a certain time in my life where it was like, there was, you know, it's like, it's like the college thing, the work thing, the living at home thing, you know, shit with my father, like, all these things, and, like, all these people with opinions who I was like, you don't really care about me. Like, you know, you have opinions about me, but they're not like, it's like, you're not
invested
in
any
you're not throwing any money my way to help me live a certain way that you want me to. But it's like, but I think, the movie, things just hit us at a certain place in time. So it makes perfect sense. And I think your anxiety, or your anxiousness, I should say, about revisiting it is like, oh God, you're in such a more realized place in your life that what if this is kind of a letdown, or it reminds you of
where I was,
how you felt, and where you were.
And I think that actually happened, and it helped me actually a lot. You know, realize, you know, where I was and how much I've grown and all that sort of thing. And I will say, like I said, there's lots of flaws with this movie, and I'm happy to nitpick and all that. I'm totally fine with it, because I'm at peace with my love for my connection.
Yeah.
Enough that I could rip apart this entire movie and still want to watch it 100 times.
I will say, there are a lot of things. There were a lot of things, and as you know, like I said, I liked it too. Like I didn't connect me the way it connected you.
Sure.
But I really liked it. I liked how it wore its heart on its sleeve, and I worried revisiting, because I'm like, oh God, I have, both of us. You know, we've been in different relationships. We've had some ups and downs, and in our lives, and it's like, you know, will I respond to the sentimentality the same, or will my bitter old gay queen prevent me from enjoying this movie to the full extent? And I have to be honest, I did find myself gagging a little bit at some certain
Me too.
scenes, and I have I have so many notes, and I'm going to try and truncate some of them. But my first note is, what the hell are these accents? And I know we're dealing with like a Greek owner and his family, and then we have the New York and by the way, I lived in New York for 14 years. I have never met anyone that talks like a New Yorker in a movie. You know, but I will say, Nathan Lane, and I'm going for the gay character here.
Yeah,
I laughed every time he spoke. He
was good. He was so young, first of all.
Oh my God.
I'm like, shit, like, is he 20? Yes, I remember him, and I really liked, I liked all of his lines, I think. Just the whole,
and his little
picking
guy,
up the phone.
His little boyfriend guy.
He was hilarious. Huck Finn, right?
Yes,
I'm dating Huck Finn. One of my favorite parts about Nathan Lane is when he's talking to Cora, and Cora's like, you know, it was like right after the bathroom scene.
Yeah.
And there's like all this chaos, and she's like, oh, she's saying something like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have slept with him, or something like that. Yeah. And he goes, oh, you slept with him? And she goes, she didn't tell you I slept with him? Did she tell you about the gold pumps? And he goes, he wore gold pumps? Like, it was just so good. Like, the timing and that little interaction between the two of them were really cute.
I could talk about Cora for 35 minutes. That's the movie I want to see.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I want to see Cora, the miniseries. I don't know why Cora and Johnny couldn't. I feel like they were a much better match. Yeah. I don't necessarily think Cora needed Johnny, and I don't think Johnny needed Cora, where you feel Frankie and Johnny actually need each other.
Yes.
And that's the trick there. But Cora, it's Kate Nelligan, who is such an amazing actress. She was in an amazing movie called Without a Trace. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
Her son goes missing. Oh my God. She's amazing in that. She's in Prince of Tides. Amazing
She's so
in that.
Good. She
really is so good. I wish I don't have her filmography on me, but I just know she's been good in everything I've ever seen her. And she's amazing.
She has some of my favorite lines too.
Yeah.
She and Nathan Lane have some really, really good ones. What was it? She right. And the accent with her I actually liked because she was like,
she is a character.
Yes.
Like, you know, and she feels very grounded in something, and so I went with that.
She said,
I wonder if we have the same quotes. I wrote some quotes down. Can I say one?
Yeah.
She's on the phone, and you don't know who she, and this is something to the movie's credit. There's so many like little things going on, but she's on the phone, you don't know who she's on the phone with, and she says, if he jumps, he jumps. but they never do. But here's why that's important. Here's why that's important. Later on in the movie, is it Cora? Someone says, he said he was going to leave his wife, but they never do. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I think that is hilarious. They're comparing suicide.
Yep. I love that. I love
leaving your spouse. But
I think Garry Marshall was the director
of that line. Yeah.
I think he did a great job. Well, I don't know if he has anything to do with casting, but he did a great job with casting. I think that whoever was writing for Cora's lines did a really great job with her. They paid a lot of attention to her. Mm-hmm. Not so much with some of the other characters.
Oh, no. Yeah, I agree.
But once they're in the funeral home, and she's like, they're leaving, and she's like, "You're picking up a guy in a funeral home in front of a stiff? Never have I ever done something like that." She's like, so funny. And then there was another...
The sex scene with her and Al Pacino is really quite funny.
Oh my gosh, hilarious.
She's like, "Usually I get a grunt or something."
Did you can't, yeah. Oh my God. That was really funny. And then she goes, when she was, when there was a pregnant woman in the diner, and she's feeling the stomach, right? And she goes, "People think I'm a tough bitch, but shit like this chokes me up." So she was great.
She was so good.
I could have done without Netta.
Yeah.
Netta was like some weird, she wasn't a real person.
That's how I felt too.
Yeah, she was like some weird, like cartoon character.
Yeah.
Her lines were ridiculous. I don't think there was a need for her.
Because, it raised things that I think they wanted us to laugh at, but in the light of day, they were a little disturbing. Like, didn't she have pictures of Johnny?
She had a picture of her and Johnny. Two pictures of her and Johnny together.
It's a little strange.
Which was weird. That it's very fleeting. It's right at the end of the movie, and it just, whatever. It speaks to how lonely everybody is, really.
Yeah.
They were panning on everybody's loneliness. Or lack of, with the Greek man. But yeah, and, she smoked, and she was supposed to be, I don't know, naive, but she wasn't. And, there's that scene when she's trying to get, a piece of pie, and the pie thing is, twirling around, too fast. That would not happen.
No.
And then she's like, the pie thing is going berserk again. There was just really not a real need for her. No. I don't understand why she was there. Everything that she said, anytime she was any kind of value to Frankie, which is obviously why she was there, could have been Cora. Mm-hmm. Cora could have been that person.
Totally.
For her. It just was just distracting.
Yeah, and it would have made. I think it would have made more sense for the diner because it wasn't so busy. They needed 3 waitresses running around like crazy. And just
a couple, a random person could have said a couple of her lines. Yeah. She did not need to be a character.
I will also say, Christina, this does bring up a negative for me, which is the commotion.
You love chaos.
Oh, I can't stand it.
You love the
chaos.
And
I feel like it's in a lot of 80s. I feel it's in a lot of these revisits, 80s and 90s movies where it's truly, I just it's filmed on location in hell. Mm-hmm. It's prostitutes yelling at people, car crashes, a waitress dies, a woman is beat up in the building next door, trash everywhere, cluttered apartments. I mean, and it's just the guy the man has an epileptic seizure, and then the kid won't get off the phone because he's talking to his girlfriend, the bus boy.
Oh, that
and
is
everyone's
so annoying.
yelling, "People, please stay back!" Blah. I'm like, this is quite the Yelp review.
Yeah,
it's there is pandemonium everywhere, and that is the moment Johnny asks Frankie on a date.
Right. So that's the point where he's like, "What are you doing later?" She's like, "I'm trying to save this guy's life." Yeah. And I loved her reaction.
She's very good at it. She's very good.
Honestly, she reacted a lot with how I would you gotta be fucking kidding me. You are how did she say something? You're so full of shit or something. I don't know. It was something like, give me a break. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
I will say, speaking of Michelle with the accent, and this just because I know I'm picking on her a bit with the accent, but this is truly, I wrote it down. She's in the hospital. Helen's in the hospital, one of the waitresses, and which means they had 4 waitresses for that place on a given day. So she says, Helen, we're gonna go now, but we'll be back tomorrow, okay? Oh, that's not an accent. Do you have something in your mouth? Like, that is so... It's really bad, and her accent is kind of inconsistent, and when it's full on, it's just bad. I agree. It doesn't make sense.
So, yeah, and I don't know who told her to have that accent, but, I mean, she was trying to be tough and hard. And I think she just kind of, like, said, okay, I'll use this accent because this, like, Bronx accent is tough and hard. I think she could have been all of that without that. Also, I'm pretty sure this is the movie, and I might be wrong, but they were almost not going to hire her because she was too pretty.
Right.
Right? Okay, so I'm right about that. And so she really had to, like, you know...
So this is an unpleasant conversation because, so, just so you know, I wrote it down because it's, okay. This is based on a play. I think most people know this. The play was written by Terrence McNally, who also wrote the screenplay for this movie. He wrote Frankie for Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates is a big theater person, and he wrote it for her, and it became a play off-Broadway, and Kathy Bates was, like, just amazing in the role, and when it became successful... They were making a movie, and Kathy Bates really wanted the role. Terrence McNally wanted Kathy Bates for the role. She auditioned for the role, and she didn't get it.
Which is so
like,
weird.
How do you not get a role that you created, that was created for you, that was a hit on Broadway? The reason why you want to make it a movie is because she was so good in the stage production you saw, but you're replacing Kathy Bates with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, that's strange.
That's a strange swap. And at the same time, I think, like, well, if that had happened, maybe would she have been able to make Misery? And I'm so much...
Well, I mean, it all worked out for her eventually. But, yeah, and I just remember, and, like... But my recollection of it was that Michelle Pfeiffer wanted it, and they didn't think she could do it because she was too pretty.
That's right.
Okay.
But, I think... I'm trying to think of who pushed. I know Michelle Pfeiffer, like, really, really wanted it, and I think it was more like just a backlash when she was cast, maybe that people were like, that's her in the role. Just to put in perspective, the play also in other versions, Edie Falco was Frankie.
She would have been great.
Rosie Perez was Frankie in other productions.
Yeah, both of those. They both would have been great.
Yeah,
and much more like. True to the character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, because here's why. One of my notes just says, I think he only likes her because she looks like Michelle Pfeiffer. like, there's really no reason. She hasn't done anything to make him like her. And I know it's a romantic comedy. Right. You don't need a reason in a movie. But it's like, something would have been interesting. It does... he finds her attractive, and that's why he asks her out. I want to quickly get off of this page of notes. Let me just quickly say this is really funny. Garry Marshall, 1987, he made Overboard. 1988, he made Beaches. 1990, he made Pretty Woman. 91, Frankie Giant. Movies we've all revisited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's had, he made some really...
He did, yeah.
Movies that people love in that last... Obviously, 1983 was Scarface with both Pacino and Pfeiffer.
Yeah. And they had great chemistry in that moment, too.
Yeah.
So, one of my nitpicky things is, early on, because I'm going to try to get off my first page of notes, too, is, and I'm sure you noticed it, too, and this was so annoying to me, is the first part, it's a double annoying to me.
All right.
Is... She's taking somebody's order. Here are the specials. There's an omelet special, and there's a, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Pancake special. Whatever. Say it was just whatever.
Okay.
2 specials. And then the people she's waiting on, she's like, I'll take the pancake special. And she's like, no, there isn't a pancake special. There's only an omelet special and a fried egg special. Oh, okay. Then I'll take the French toast special. Oh. And I'm like, people aren't that stupid. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I just wish they hadn't written that because it really irked me so much.
It's up there with the pie.
Yeah, it's like
spinning around.
Not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, after all this, there's the accident out front. It's Johnny's coming up, and there's an accident. And we're inside the diner. Yeah. This loud, crowded diner.
Yeah.
And you can hear everything that's going on outside. And I'm like, that was distracting to me. Yeah. I'm like, you would not be able to hear every conversation that's going on with the two guys across the street yelling at each other. Mm-hmm. You can hear them yelling at each other. I'm like, who did this? Yeah. Like, who's handling the sound on this?
Yes. And it tried, like I've said before, it tries too hard at times to create the world. Like, Michelle Pfeiffer walks by that one diner and she's like, the blue pill, Edna, not the red pill.
Right.
And it's like, did she see the pill? And like, Edna really wouldn't know?
And did she really go there every single morning just to take her pills?
Like,
yeah, there's like...
it was trying a little too hard.
It was trying, way too hard. There's a lot that could have been removed of this movie, and it would have been a better movie. Even just like the accident itself, you didn't need the audio. Like,
oh God,
give us some credit.
Christine, I completely agree. That car accident was like jarring and truly pointless.
Yes.
No one that we knew was in that car accident.
But even if they did it, and you could see that someone was trying to come out and the other one just comes over and attacks them, that would have been funny without any kind of audio. You can give us some credit to look in the background and see what's happening in the background. Like, that bothered me very much.
To me, it was like, isn't New York crazy? Honestly, there's a scene where like these kids are playing with a basketball on the sidewalk, and the guy comes out and starts yelling at the top of his lungs in the background. It's like, I don't understand what the point is. It's like, New York is it's just so mean, and all we want is love. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's just trying too hard to set that up.
It is. I will say, I do have down here, like, I did like Nathan Lane in it. I really did. But there was that first speech to her when they're establishing that, she got a VCR, and she's like, I'm going to order a pizza in her, accent. Mm-hmm. I'm going to order a pizza and put in a movie, and it's dinner and a movie, and I don't have to worry about some schmuck putting his tongue in my ear. That's how she did it.
That was better than her accent.
Thank you. I was practicing. But then Nathan Lane had a speech. I didn't write it down, but it was very, like, movie-ish. He was like...
I wish you wrote it down.
I wish I had written it down, too. But it was very movie-ish, and I was just like, oh, he didn't need to say that. Like, we get it. Again, a lot of this movie was kind of like force-feeding us, and it was like, give us some credit.
I also think because it was a play, the movie has to do a little bit of extra work in setting up and filling in some of those blanks.
Yes.
And although you would think, because it's a movie, it has even more freedom to tell its story. So a lot of because I'll be honest with you mentioned Nathan Lane's speeches. Oh my God, Al Pacino. Johnny has so many speeches, and I didn't write any of them down.
No, I didn't really either. And we can have a whole conversation about Al.
Here's why.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a little more. I was a little more annoyed by it because of where we are in the planet right now with COVID and being trapped inside. Can you imagine being stuck in the house with Johnny during COVID?
No.
Oh my God! Everything.
He would have been out that window.
Take off your robe. I love you. Like, hey, the moon and the stars, baby. It's like, oh my God, calm down. Yeah. I'm one person.
And I get it. Yeah, I get it. He's just been released from prison. He has a new lease on life. So not only does he have a new lease on life, but he also has tasked himself with the job of enlightening Frankie, who he has just met. I have a lot of issues with this. I do.
She is not asked to be enlightened, by the way.
She is not. She's very happy with her life the way it is. Well, she's not happy. She says actually in the beginning, I actually wrote that one down, maybe I'm not the happiest person who ever lived, but that's not your fault. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of sad to say. But I mean, whatever. It was what it is. But so she's establishing, again, force-feeding us that she's unhappy. Like, you didn't have to tell me that to let me know that she's unhappy. But anyway, in any case, she's content with her life. And not, even though she's not happy, even though she doesn't have someone in her life, she's content with the way her life is. She's not asking anybody to fix her. She's, she has a job and, whatever. She's content. Mm-hmm. She might be a little lonely, but I mean, and I think that that's basically the overarching theme of this movie is everyone's lonely.
Mm-hmm.
In this city of 1 million people,
that's right.
Everyone is lonely.
Yeah.
So. Well.
Yeah. And I think, too, again, like, I really did like the performances of just about everybody. You know, the accent aside, I do think she is really, like, it is a really heartfelt performance. You do feel bad. The first time when you said we should watch Frankie and Johnny, the first words that popped in my head were belt buckle. Isn't that so weird? Like,
oh, wow.
That, like, you know, you find out that she was beat up by her boyfriend, that she's roughed up. She says, I think she's roughed up. And that he hit her in the head with a belt, and that there's a scar from a belt buckle, and they don't show it.
No.
Al Pacino, of course, kisses it, and then and then there's one scene where she's bawling her eyes out, and he's kissing her tears, and it's gross. Like, I'm just like, blah.
He's like a little like monkey. It's like crawling all over her.
I know.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. And but oh god. Oh, and since we're on that topic. I really want to know your thoughts on the sex scene. Okay. When it's like, I want to hear you. I want to hear you. So basically, because he has been in prison, he has been teaching himself this art of the silent orgasm. And,
yes.
Which
we
also
ask
know
you
through
about
Cora.
This? So does that mean he was having, like, sex?
Oh, no, I think he's just jerking off in prison.
Okay, just jerking off.
But he probably didn't want to, like, make noises, so his inmate woke up or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay. But it's like how to make an awkward scene more awkward. Like, this isn't awkward at all. Like, they're having sex. Okay, fine. And then she's like, I want to hear you. And then, as if that's not enough, then you have to cut to Nathan Lane, who hears them while he's throwing out his garbage. And it's like...
He, like, shudders.
And
you hear... Yeah, I don't need to hear anybody, honestly.
Nope.
I really don't.
Nope.
That actually brought back... I'm probably sharing way too much, and I apologize. Matt, block your ears. So, I was in a relationship, and I had heard from someone that it's, like, so amazing to look at someone while they're having an orgasm.
Okay.
And I did that, and I will regret it to the very ends of the earth. So it's like, it brought back these horrible moments. That one horrible moment where I was like, I want to look at you. And I'm like, oh my God. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, honestly, unless you really love this person. And this is not Matt, just so you know. This was not Matt. Okay. Because I said block your ears, Matt. But, so that, it gave me the willies in that way. Like, oh my God. The rest of the sex scene. So I thought the sex scene was interesting in that I did feel like it was kind of real. So a lot of these scenes. Okay, yes, Johnny is so crazy over the top in so many different ways. He needs some medication or something, like, just so much. And I really would not have dated this guy after, like, one of those little outbursts. However, if you remove some of this, there are some moments that I really liked between the two of them. The sex scene I thought was good because it seemed kind of real, where, like, you just sort of like you just like taking the shirt off and like you're kind of fumbling around and like bumbling and they're pulling
out the sofa bed out of the
everything's
sofa.
Sort of like in the the fit of passion, and I liked that part of it because so many times in movies it's like this beautifully lit, like, my God, this seemed a little bit real to me in that part. But yes, the whole I want to hear you. I'm like, oh no, please don't.
It's like Frankie, you're the only one that wants to hear that.
Yeah, nobody else wants to hear that.
Well, Cora did, but that's another story.
Yeah.
I could have done without that.
Yes, for sure. We've been talking a lot of negatives. Let's talk some stuff that I liked. I did like there were some really nice scenes with them that you could see the chemistry and you could see like this sort of subtle, it was when he was more subtle, of course, but you could see like the subtle flirting and like she's responding to him and like actually kind of like giggling at some of the stuff that he was saying and like he was pursuing her aggressively, but not aggressively, but like he was pursuing her, but not aggressively, but like not overbearingly, just being cute and fun. Like I liked when he said, when he's like, I got a crush on you. I got a crush on you. You know, that kind of thing. I liked that. I liked the scene in the kitchen when it was, actually I liked, I should know this by heart. When he asked her outside, and he's like, why don't you just come to the party with me?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And he's like, why not? We're both going to show up alone. Let's just show up together. You know, why not? And I liked, because that was kind of real. And when you watch her, like if I really felt like she wasn't interested, it would be one thing. But I really felt like she was interested. She looked at him in the diner. She was checking him out. She could obviously felt that he was attractive. There was something about him that he liked. So when he's asking her out, you can tell that her gut reaction is no. Nope. But she wants to say yes, and it was like, and then she gives him the real apartment number, because he's like, well, what's your? Because he looked up the address, which is like, and he's like, you looked up my address, so now all of a sudden, okay, the wall's up, right? So no.
Yeah.
And then he's like, just tell me the apartment number. Let's just, you know. And then she does, and he's like, that's not really the apartment number. Like, that whole little interaction was really cute. Because it's like she wants to say yes, but she's not comfortable saying yes.
It reminds me of the age conversation where she keeps lying about her age.
God, yeah.
But I also like the scene where... so I liked a lot... Like I said, I did like a lot about it. But I like the scene where they're in, like, by the trash cans, and she is chewing her coffee cup.
Yes.
And
that's the same scene.
Oh, yeah.
When he asks her out.
Yes, because she's, like, kind of waiting. Like, she's like, how much? Because
she's already said no to him.
Here's the thing. It's one thing to not be interested, but it's another thing to be flirted with.
Yes.
And this guy is very passionate, and there's something entertaining about that. And you see it in her eyes. Like, as much as she's like, oh, God, this is not the time. Like, but she's like, what else do I have to get going on? Like, he's crazy about me. Why am I stopping this? Like, he's just flirting. But I think, like, I like that scene because I kind of feel like she was just waiting for him to say the right thing. Or how much is he going to keep flirting with me right now?
Right. And she's sort of trying to play hard to get, but doesn't know how.
Right.
She really doesn't know how to play hard to get. She's very awkward in that way, and I could, totally see that.
I love, and I have a huge heart around this in my notes. It's like, I really do love Michelle Pfeiffer's, like, willingness to be messy. There's a lot of scenes where she is truly trying to look, like, I mean, she is being dressed down.
Yes.
And that she's, and she does the ugly cry. She is standing in her kitchen chomping on pizza. Yep. Like, she's putting on, like, some, unattractive attire.
Well, and I gotta tell you, I love that whole scene too, when she's getting ready for the party.
Yeah.
And she's like, she has really realistic clothes for her.
Yeah.
And, and Nathan Lane is trying to get an outfit for her, and he's like, oh, here it is. And I love, like, the whole, she's like, what about this? And he's like, oh,
Italian
you go into a funeral or something. And she's like, I don't know. And it's like, she throws it down, and then he finds the dress, and then the buzzer buzzes.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not expecting any. Like, it really is shocking to her that he shows up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's like, the whole, like, Frankie? Johnny? And he's like, ooh, I got goosebumps, and, like, that whole thing was hilarious to me because I could totally, like, and, like, all of a sudden she's just like, oh, shit. He's freaking here? And now she has to get dressed and all this stuff. And I love, love, love the way when she's dressed up, right, for her. When she's dressed up, she has the curls, and she looks in the mirror and she goes, I look like the Breck girl. Do you remember that commercials of the Brecks? Yeah. She's like, that whole panic of like, oh my God. And now she is out of her element because she's dressed up and she has her hair done the way she wanted to do it. and she's still trying to be tough, but she can't because she's completely uncomfortable in her dress and her shoes because she's not. And I would 100% relate to that because I'm a jeans kind of girl, and like you don't feel confident or comfortable when you're dressed up if you're not used to doing that.
Right.
And here she is now. She's in this situation where she's trying to be hard and cold, but she can't, and she's trying to flirt, but she doesn't do that well either. And Anyway, I'm so sorry. I just had to mention that scene because it was like, to me, it like rang so true to me.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie because, and I love when he walks up the 5 flights of stairs and
he runs.
He runs. And he's so out of breath. And fifth floor walk up. I appreciated that. I appreciated her sort of. Not even, I think I said messy apartment earlier. I don't even know if it's messy as much as she has no closets. Like,
it's just not a lot of space.
It's a very real New York apartment, which you don't usually see in movies. And like even her bathroom, there's no cabinets, so you just see everything in her bathroom.
There,
and it's not really messy. It's just that she can't. It's all of her stuff.
Yeah.
And I like the elephants and how he's like, oh well, they need to be looking out the window for good luck.
Yeah.
And then at the end they pan. And to be honest, I kind of wish it ended with the elephants.
Me too.
Right? Because I know. I'm going to stay positive. I'm not going to say
no. It's okay.
One of the most disgusting things. Can I say this? One of the most disgusting. I don't like when people are brushing their teeth and talking.
Yeah.
That's the thing with me.
Terrible. I don't know why they had to have them brush their teeth together.
Yep.
So gross.
Because also, I'm not seeing any suds. I'm not seeing any toothpaste on there.
No,
they're
it's
just
gross. I know, Matt and I were both talking about that. Like, oh, that's so gross. I wish they didn't do that.
I will say Pacino was great with some of the rougher dialogue. Like there's about the killing yourself. Like, when do you think of killing yourself? And he's talking about never connecting with that part of himself that bumps into other people all day long, but no one ever knows it. And that is a theatrical moment.
Yes.
That I was like, you know what? He's really great with being with this guy who's so full of love and passion to give out because he's been so confined for so long that I'm like, I bought it. I don't think the problems that I have with this movie are really the faults of the actors.
Definitely
as much as they're trying
not
to twist this play into a movie is where the problem is.
And the thing is, like, Al Pacino's an amazing actor. And I think he did the best with what he was given. I think they were saying, be over the top, be crazy. I think that he was doing that. But I really feel like that he could have used, first of all, take away 90% of those big moments. 90% would have been fine. But maybe one big moment would have been enough, right? But I have, oh my God, so many opinions on this. But he had this backstory about having a family, and I would have liked to have seen more of that. I mean, you just get like a glimpse of a picture of him and his ex-wife and his 2 kids.
Christina, I was like, wait, that really is his family? I couldn't picture him.
No, I couldn't either. I don't
know if that was part of the point, but I couldn't picture it.
I think it was part of the point because she married somebody else who had the money, and they're in a different place, and that's why he felt uncomfortable re-emerging. But I mean, that was like 2 minutes of the whole movie?
I know. Yeah.
If that. And then even explaining, and he explains very, very quickly after the fact when he shows up at the bowling alley, which to me, I swear to God, that would have been the end of that relationship. That very second, I would have turned around and said, go away. And I mean, I appreciated how uncomfortable she was. Like, she didn't want him there, but she didn't know how to say go away and all of that. But then it all of a sudden just kind of like built up and was just like, enough. That to me was, I cringe at that scene every single time I watch this movie. First of all, the beginning of that bowling scene with, like, you see all the bowling pins and the bowling, the balls, and you see all of them. It reminded me of like some like sock hop beach movie. It has like this weird music to it. It's like it just
really?
All of a sudden
it didn't bother me. In fact, I was blown away by Michelle Pfeiffer bowling.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that was any special trickery. Well,
right? You know what's really funny is in Grease 2, there's a whole bowling scene.
And she's good at it
with his song and all that kind of stuff.
Is she a good bowler in that?
I forget. I don't know.
She's an amazing bowler. Yeah. I don't think that was any editing trickery. I really believe she's really bowling.
I'm sure she is. Yeah. But that scene, that would have been the end of it. But that would have been a good opportunity for him to tone it down and actually have a conversation with her, as opposed to running after her into the bathroom. And I think that this is supposed to be some sort of comedic scene, and it's not funny. It's disturbing on a lot of levels.
Okay, so now here's the thing. You are bringing up something that I had that reminds me of another scene. So that bowling scene in the bathroom, I think Michelle Pfeiffer was going for drama when she should have gone for laughs. Because there's one, there's the other scene where she is, oh God, what's happening? Like, I think it's like where she says something like, I never thought I'd date a guy who would say,
Pardon my friend, this is the bathroom This is the bathroom scene, because she says, I never thought I would,
But she says she says it a bit dramatically, and I'm like, oh, no, that's a joke. But I feel
she's mad. So she's yelling it at him.
But there's a way to be comedically mad.
And then he says something to her, and he says, I never thought I'd fall in love with this, and she's like, I've never said that. That's the first time I've ever said that phrase, ever. And that part was kind of funny.
Yes, but I think she could have played that more for laughs. I think there was a tone issue in a couple of scenes like that.
It's a super, I 100% agree. And that's like, I just wish I could remove that scene or change it around so much differently. Because he wouldn't have recovered after that. Like, I would not want to see him after that. After him showing up for one thing, and then after this whole thing and saying, I love you. Like, you can't... I have a problem with this whole I love you thing after 2 dates. I have this problem. But he is like screaming it from the rooftops and talking about being together forever. And he's talking about this to this woman who is afraid to be in a relationship.
Christina, the same. I wrote, Johnny's a lot. I said, at one point he says he wants to have 4 to 5 kids because he says, I'm running out of time. It's like, okay, because you're running out of time. I'm supposed to have your children.
Right.
I've known you for how long? And I'm really scared of relationships, period.
Yeah.
So this is maybe not the angle to take with me.
Right. But listen to this. So here, I had like a little bit of a rewrite because I'm looking at it and I thought I liked, like I said at the very beginning, I liked the part when he's so it's in the bathroom. I don't like that scene.
Right.
But I like the words that he said to her when he's saying, I know I'm coming on strong, but I know if I don't come on strong, then you're going to put the wall up and you're going to forget about this. That conversation I think is integral to having any kind of redeeming qualities. Okay? Because you understand the reasoning why he's doing it. Okay? However, there needs to be a reason why she would listen to that. And that's what's missing for me. Why she will put her wall down enough to listen to that from this guy she doesn't really know. I think if they had Helen's death further in the movie, as opposed to the beginning of the movie, after their first date, okay, after she's pulled away from him a little bit, then Helen dies. And then this all kind of happens where she's realizing, or maybe Helen dies after the bowling scene. Maybe that's a better place for it. Helen dies after the whole bowling situation, bathroom scene. And then she realizes that everyone is alone and she died alone. And maybe she has an epiphany then. And then that softens her up to maybe giving Johnny another shot. Right? I mean, think about that. Like, he's calling and all this stuff and they're hanging up on him. Then she has this night shift that she has to do. If that was a night shift that she was covering for Helen, who normally works in the night shift or something, or as whatever, then she's more vulnerable to accept what Johnny has to say. And Johnny and her have some really nice moments in that evening scene in the kitchen when they're both working that night shift. They have a real connection in that scene, and the walking home is so calm and lovely and wonderful and sweet and all that. the conversation about the suicide is that conversation. Like they have a real connection during that scene. I just feel like it would have worked better with Helen dying later.
Yeah. I think, yes. I feel like, because what I did, the thing about why was she allowing him to have these moments and to pour his heart out, she does kind of hold him to task, though. And there's a scene where she just flat out says, "Why do you like me?" Like, right? Or is it that day? Or why do you want to go out with me? Yeah, she says, 43 minutes in, she says, "Why do you want to go?" And she's like frustrated. It's like has to be annoying to have someone that just is like hitting on you at work, like at where you're working, and like he's hitting on you. It's like it's problematic in so many ways. But then but because she is tough. I mean, she's, I don't think this restaurant has a human resources department.
Right.
So she has to figure it out on her own and and push back. But then she's kind of like, wait though, like she wants to really throw it in his face. Like, why do you even want to go out with me?
Right.
And he has an answer for everything.
He does have an answer for everything. He really has an answer for everything. I do like when she says, because she calls him out on a lot of like his actions as well. Because she says to him, "I wish you'd stop looking at me like that. You don't look, you stare. It's intense."
Yeah.
Like, and that's true. Like, he is so intense. And she's saying, "I don't like it. Stop doing that."
You know what it is for me, Christina? I know you just rewrote the whole thing. My thing is I wish there was a little more conversation about the idea that he's been in prison for 18 months and hasn't seen a woman in so long. But that's never really brought up.
I think that's why they put Cora in there.
Yeah. But I think, I guess my point is, like, if I was Frankie, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I wonder why you like me. You've been in jail for 18 months, and I'm like the second woman you've seen. Like, so it's like, but that's never really laid out, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity.
Yes.
Because then it really would have put him on that was the part that I got hung up on, because it's like, yeah, you know what, fine, her hair's a little greasy, and she's wearing a diner outfit, but she's still Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes.
And you can't see past that. So it's like, I wish she was challenged a little bit more. She does have moments where she does challenge him and his adoration, but I wish there was a couple more, to your point, because I think that would have solved a little bit of that. I do think the death of Helen, because he's so new, but he goes to the funeral.
Yes.
I think that was kind of like, and it's, to the movie's credit, I think most movies would have had them talk.
Yes.
And they don't.
And I love that. Yeah, I love that too.
Loved it.
I think what's missing for me too, as far as his character goes, is with her, you see a lot of that self-reflection and a lot of that growth and a lot of that, kind of questioning her choices and taking a chance and things like that, but you don't see any changes in him. And he should have changed a bit.
Very good point.
He should have maybe took a look at him and how he's approaching things. And
because it's right, because even as it gets really towards the end, I mean, I think at one point he says something like, "Everything I want is in this room." Yeah. And it's like, that's fucking scary. Like, it's like, get out of my house. Like, it's like, this isn't, you don't live here.
Right.
And so, yes, he needs to learn, he's acclimating back into society. He needs to maybe turn it to like a 4. He's at an 11.
Right. Like I think they're trying to make us feel like he learned everything in prison.
But
we didn't know him beforehand, so we don't know if he learned anything.
Good Lord, you would not invite this couple to on a double date, because they'd be disgusting.
Yes.
Right? Yes. I mean, he would be gross. I think she'd be trying to calm him down a little bit.
I wonder how this relationship moves forward. I do wonder about that.
Should we take a little break?
Yes. One thing, okay. You know what, let's take a break. Yeah. But I do want to say, just when they went to the party, I liked kind of like that interaction with the two of them and like that conversation. I thought was really funny when she took a swig of the beer and he's like, "I love the way you swig." And she gives him like the biggest eye roll. And I like, those are the moments that I really like, because she's like, "You're weird. Like, what are you talking about? You love the way I swig."
That is
that kind of stuff.
And I like that.
She says, one of my favorite lines that she says to him is like, "I'm not so sure I like where your key's been." Because he's like, "We're like a lock and key, Frankie."
Yeah, right.
She's like, "I'm not sure I like the way. I'm not sure I like where your key's been." And then he said, well, you know what that was? That was a Band-Aid on loneliness. And it was kind of like, all right.
Real quick, I do like how the characters, and I'm such a fan of these moments when, like, they're all talking in the back room, the women, and they're cracking each other up.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I love seeing that in movies and TV shows.
Me too.
Because when someone's funny, nothing's worse than when the characters don't laugh, but the audience is cracking up. Like, it's like, I don't know, I like those moments, and again, Kate Nelligan's great. We'll take a little break and come back with final thoughts and questions.
Yeah, I still have like a page and a half in there.
Oh, cool!
We might have already.
I'm excited to hear them.
But yes, we will be right back. Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pulp culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we're back, talking very passionately about Frankie and Johnny, 1991. Michelle Pfeiffer, Al Pacino. I have a couple of notes that I didn't get to. One question, I know you mentioned when you were younger and you saw the scene where they opened the truck door and the flowers were behind. What were your thoughts about that this time around? Did you still like it?
No, I didn't.
No. So I didn't either. And I've always had a problem with the scene, even, because I said, like, I loved the movie, but there's lots of things I didn't like about it. That scene to me bothered me so much because he was, like, eating her.
Yes.
Like, it was such an awkward kiss. Like, I would never want to be kissed that way. Ever. Any kind of situation.
Yeah.
Passionate or not. It was so, like, I would be panicking if anyone tried to kiss me that way. I appreciated the visual behind it.
Yeah.
And I liked that he took her there, actually. I liked that. That was a nice little place to take her.
Yeah.
But that kiss was awful. However, I will say, one of my favorite moments of this whole movie was, and I forgot about the whole, and this is another, this is not the favorite movie, but when they were, like, about to fool around and he didn't have a condom.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty true, realistic kind of situation that could have happened, because I could totally have seen me in that situation and be like, oh, I have condoms, but I don't want to tell him I have condoms because it makes me look cheap. I could totally see that, so I appreciated that whole thing. But one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is the bathroom scene. And I know you talked a little bit about it, because that's when they started talking about the ages. But what a sweet scene. The two of them. I felt like they had so much chemistry in that moment in the bathroom when he's fixing, putting a Band-Aid on her finger. After he yells, did you hear what he yelled? Don't get blood on the meatloaf.
Oh, yeah.
Which made me laugh. But they're in the bathroom, and it's just it's such a sweet, calm moment. And they're talking about ages. And it's like the first time you really see him like an actual person. Like, he wasn't like this crazy clown trying to, like, change her mind about the world. You know what I mean? He was like a normal, calm, awesome guy that I could totally have fallen in love with. That, like, nice conversation about the age. I want to stop bullshitting people about my age. That's, like, so cool. And then she's like, I'm 35 or whatever.
Yeah.
Really, really sweet. And that kiss, I really wished somehow that could have been their first kiss. That was such a sweet, realistic moment. I really, really love that. That's probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Nice.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention that.
Yeah. No, I did like that also. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if the play, I feel like the play takes place in the apartment. That it doesn't even take place in the diner.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how that would work.
They wouldn't have more than one scene?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I read that, but it could be totally wrong.
Oh.
I don't know how that would...
Yeah. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just remembered something else I wanted to say.
Good.
So another thing I thought was kind of annoying was she looks out her window and she can see in like everybody's windows. Did you not find that so like convenient? Like you see the family with the new puppy, and you see the old, and then she moves up and she sees the old people having dinner together, and then she moves over and she sees the one being beat up. I get that. I wish she only saw that.
Yeah. My feeling about that is, I mean, it happens, like when even here, like we don't have, so it's like, but I think I was surprised how many people don't really have window treatments that you can just see right into their apartment.
Well, and they just happen to be like sitting right in front of the window.
Well, and also, God, this is so bad. My feeling about the woman being beaten, I mean, it was like stunt work. I mean, like he really hits that woman hard, and like he pulls his hand way back, and it's like that's a lot. Yeah. And she sees her in the grocery store, and I was like, I felt even that was a little too convenient. And I know it's their local store. I'm sure it would have happened,
right?
But it's just strange.
And it circles back to like her being beat up or whatever. No, but I still don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just didn't like. I didn't really like.
I don't think it added much to it.
No, I don't think it did either. Again, they're force feeding us. Like we could figure out without
we can fill in
scene
the blanks. Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
She had that one line that was really kind of cool when he was like something like, "Did he mess you up as a child or whatever?" And she's like, everybody thinks that when you're I don't know if you, exactly.
Yes.
When you're messed up as an adult, it's because of your childhood. It's not. It's because you were messed up as a woman.
Yeah.
And like that was enough. You didn't need to have this old sideline of this woman getting beat up across the way. We get it. She was messed up.
Yeah.
We know what that means.
Yeah.
It was a good line. I liked the line. She said it better than I did.
Well, yeah, because it's like it's not. It's like I would imagine being in a violent, like a physically abusive relationship would be rough. And I imagine then seeing a physically abusive relationship would be rough because you've been in a physically, but it's like, I don't think we need it. Like, I don't think we need all of it.
I have not been in an abusive relationship, and I felt the same way that she did. Like, you don't have to be abused to have that empathy.
Wrong. Yeah, right, yeah. It's so strange.
It is strange. Okay, so I think that's...
Wait, so really quick.
Oh, sorry.
Do you like it more, less, or about the same?
I still love it just as much. I really do. As much as flawed as it is.
Yeah.
I still love it just as much. Although, again, I would take out a few things, recast a little bit, redirect a little bit. But I still really love the story, and I just it takes me back.
Yeah.
So I really love it still. Good. I would still recommend it to people.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, less for me. Yeah, I think it's just a little too. I think like my middle-aged cynicism. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's a little too like hard on your sleeve kind of thing. It's a little much.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I was watching it with Matt, and he watched like the last half of it or something. He didn't really watch the whole thing. And he was funny because I'm like, did you see it before? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And so I'm like, well, I'd like, if you want to watch with me, it's on or whatever. So he was watching the render, and it ends, and he's like, wait, I thought she like won the lottery or something.
Oh, it could happen to you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, no, you're thinking of Bridget Fonda. It could happen to you with Nicolas Cage.
Rosie Perez.
So it was kind of funny. So the whole time he's watching it, he was like waiting for somebody to win the lottery.
That's amazing. Questions. I have one. So you have an FMK.
I have an FMK.
So do you want to do mine first?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
So mine is pretty light. I was trying to do a real Nash Game one, but I just gave up.
Yeah.
I think this is a fun one. So which fictional dining establishment that we have discussed on this podcast would you most like to work at if you had to work at one?
Oh my gosh.
Your choices are...
Oh good, you have choices.
Yes. The Greek... we have like 90 episodes to choose from. So But these are only dining establishments. So, Frankie and Johnny's Greek Diner.
Okay.
The Diner in Greece.
Okay.
Where all the kids hang out. And Three's Company's Regal Beagle.
Did you write it down?
I'm picking mine right now.
Well, but the Regal Beagle isn't really a diner.
You can order food there.
But it's not really a diner. It's like a bar.
Dining establishment.
Okay. The other two would buy diners. That's what I'm saying.
God.
Well, I would absolutely say Regal Beagle. I think that would be really fun to work at. But you know what I thought you were going to say for a third?
What?
I thought you were going to say the diner in When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, that was such a short little blip. Yeah. And it's Katz's Deli. I mean, like, I felt like... And I picked Regal Beagle for you.
Yeah. What would you pick for you?
Regal Beagle, I think.
Yeah.
Or... Yeah, Regal Beagle. Yeah.
I would want to do the 50s diner because it's all the kids hang out there.
It's the kids and they're messy and they probably tip like shit. Yeah.
And the Greek one, it just seemed like it was
hectic,
very hectic and small.
Dirty. Yeah, it feels a little dirty too.
It seems small.
What I was going to do is just workplace and have like Steel Magnolias, beauty shop, and all that. And I think that would be where I'd want to work, even though I'd probably just be cleaning the floors and stuff. Yeah. But like seems like a fun place. All right. And
so I have an
question,
FMK. Yeah. So, it's, it'll be controversial. I'm sure you're not going to like this. But, so here's the FMK for you. Cora.
Okay.
Helen. Netta. The three waitresses.
Yep. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's a tough one.
I'm always nice to you.
And I'm sorry.
Am I not nice to you in these?
What else would you do for an FMK?
I guess I would do Al Pacino, Hector Elizondo, and Nathan Lane.
All right. No, we'll do this.
No, fine. It's fine. It is fine. I will play.
It is fine. You need to get, sometimes these things are too easy. This one's not.
Oh, God. I can't believe I'm doing this right now. All right. I would F Cora, marry Helen, and kill Netta. I just know, you know why? I love Cora so much, but I don't know if I'd want to be married to her. But she is fun. She's a fun gal.
Yeah.
Helen just seemed like a really nice lady. I would marry her. And then Netta is just so odd and weird. I'd have to kill her.
Yeah. So I had it mixed up. I had you marrying Cora and effing Helen.
I just think with
because there's no other choice for Netta.
No.
There's no way you would want to bed Netta.
No, I'm sorry. When a pie dish is confusing to you, and you've worked at a diner your whole life, that's a problem.
Yeah, she's not a person to me. No. Honestly, she's like a character. She's like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
So and yeah, so that's that. All right, so I guess that's it for Frankie and Johnny.
And that is it for us, and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please.
If you have an idea for the show, or a suggestion or comment, you can email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Until next time.